paying attention to the weird guy up front. I gotta stop mumbling. Good morning, GrrCON. Hey, that's exactly how I feel right now. Great. I'm glad we're all on the same page. That's amazing. I'd like to start off, especially after Chris's talk. It's like I want to make sure that this is my legal disclaimer for any feds still in the audience, which they're probably not. They're all out there now. But this is my legal disclaimer. I am not a lawyer. I have played one on the internet before successfully, but I am not a lawyer. But this is my legal disclaimer. I Googled it off of Google image search, which is where I'll get most of my slide content too. And basically what this states is, when I'm hired to go and do bad things, and I'm going to tell you some of the things that I've done that are like really bad, really just horrible and mean, and you're like, that's not nice, Jason. You should not be so bad. It's like, just understand something. Just remember the kittens. I'm adorable, okay? I will never try to steal you, kill you, steal from you, or financially ruin you unless you pay me first, okay? There's always a contract before the destruction happens, okay? I always stay in scope. It's like not casting, anything on anybody else, but I always stay in scope. It's like I do that. And so when I'm on a job, it's like I'm doing really, really bad things, but it's because you asked me to. And I'm just really good at being bad for good reasons, which, bad plays a lot of thing in here. This is my slide just to help me find the mouse. There it is. And this is the snazzy intro that Tim Pearson was nice enough to make for me. There's audio? That freaked me out for a second. I was like, whoa, I didn't know there was audio on it. It's like the magic of, PowerPoint. But the title's called Breaking, that distracted me, sorry, I'm ADD. But yeah, so the title's called Breaking and Bad. Basically, when you do social engineering talks, and I've come across this stuff, I've done some really weird, crazy things. And I don't believe some of the things that I've done. It's like, and so when you do research on certain devices and certain things, you can go and say, here's a demo of what I've done. This is the actual results of what I've done. There it is. And I tell you and stuff, I come up to you, it's like, yeah, I was social engineering this facility research, and I'm like 7 stories above Nicosia, Cyprus, and I'm trying to prove a point, and so I climb up this vent because it was the wrong way, and there's like right down here was like a 7-story jump, but I'm like in a shirt and tie and stuff, and it's like here I am climbing in to prove that I can get into the server room. That doesn't sound very believable. I actually have a picture of me doing that, but it still doesn't sound very believable. It's like, so one of the things that when you hear these stories, it's like it's really hard to see that. So this talk is basically trying to show actual evidence of some of the social engineering engagements I've done. I call it my dessert and vegetables talk because I do give you some stories at the very beginning, but then I talk about some of the things that we need to do to be better at protecting against them. This is a wasted slide. This is just basically to show you my Twitter handle. It's like that I live tweet my life. There's way more information out there on the internet about me than I actually do like. So feel free to have at it. The one thing that I will say though is I am tired of APT. I am tired of APT. APT is basically a company saying, yeah, someone clicked on a link in a phishing email, but we got shareholders to appease and we don't want our stock to go down too bad. So it was advanced. And they were very persistent. And by golly, we felt threatened. That's APT. Knock it in the corner, we're good, right? Forget that. People talk about like, well, and then the other people, they try to mitigate it by going like, well, they were going after the low-hanging fruit. See, that's another thing that annoys me. We keep talking about attackers going after low-hanging fruit. Let's be honest with ourselves, okay? They're not going after the low-hanging fruit. The freaking fruit's on the ground. It's almost taking root. That's where your fruit is, people. It's not up in the tree. Don't give yourself that much credit that you actually have fruit hanging up on that tree that low for someone to reach up. They just have to reach down. That's where our fruit is. Let's start going after that first, and then we'll start worrying about the tree a little bit. So that's one of the things that I get a little upset with as well, because I don't try to do sophisticated. I'm the anti-sophisticated person. Obviously, if you see me at any party, you will realize that is truth. But it's like I am the anti-sophisticated person. It's like when it comes to hacking. I want to show you this stuff is so easy, even I can do it. So I usually just walk in a place and just be bad. Basic, adorable destruction. It's like no preparedness. I just go in and just, hey, let's go be bad guys. You know, it worked for Mel and the rest of the crew of the Serenity, so it's good enough for me. A couple indicators of a person doing bad things. One is recon mode. It's only about 2 hours of Google and Victim Zone website, though I've never used a full 2 hours before, ever. It's like, and we'll talk about a story where I used the longest, which was 1 hour and 45 minutes. Number 2 is SE mode. It's usually walking into the victim's location and winging it. Note, sometimes without doing number 1, and that's actually the first story where I talk about that. 3, ponage mode is basically plugging in the device into the victim's computer or network, sometimes with their help. Is their help really necessary? No, but it's funny, and, you know, I can't resist. So I usually just ask them to, can you please get out of your desk because I'm trying to do some damage. Thank you. I appreciate that. Not necessarily, I'm paraphrasing. 4, that's supposed to be there. 5, profit, you know, because the check clears, and I'm happy, and they learned some valuable lessons on their systems, and so they're happy, so everybody's happy, right? So that's a good thing. There's 3 roles that I usually go in when I'm breaking in, and I'm actually going to show you in these stories those different roles. It's like one is the tech repair guy, the delivery guy, the job applicant, customer, or just wandering in. Those are passive roles. That's where I'm usually asking you when I encounter you, I'm asking you to help me. So I'm trying to do this I'm from headquarters, we're trying to look at something, can you help me look at this real quick? It's very passive, but I'm trying to get in and trying to get them to actually help me do some bad things, which is definitely fun. But one key caveat though, is like whenever you're doing these things, make sure you're going in as something that you can actually, you know, carry out. Never go in as a plumber unless you know how to plumb, okay? Because you never know when they're like, you show up and they're like, oh, great, yeah, we need the drain snake. I'm glad you're here. We thought you were going to be here in 2 hours. I'm like, oh, let me go to my truck and get my snaky rotor-rooter device. I'll be right back. You leave, and that's a fail. So you've got to come in as something that you actually know how to do. Except for job applicants. I've gone and applied for jobs for programming, COBOL, interior design. I've come in for CPA once, was like, I've gone in for some really weird jobs. Never got the jobs. Got their data, so, you know, it was still a win-win situation. 3 is crazy off the wall personalities. Not recommended, but totally fun, and they usually work. I have broken into a palace hotel in the south of France in barefoot Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pajama bottoms and a hacker t-shirt. Full access and compromise of their internal network, underground, underneath their thing. It was full access. And the funny part about that was I didn't have a camera with me to document it, so I would walk by their security cameras in their underground complex, and I would just walk by going, as I was walking through their stuff. So they weren't amused either. But it worked, and it documented my attack. So those are the 3 ways I usually go. With the story time, I decided what the best way to do is because there's a lot of different industries. There's a lot of different people that think that we're secure. It's like, oh, that would work there, but we're secure. So I chose, for these stories, it's like I chose 3 different financial institutions or related to financial institutions because, you know, they deal with money, and people have been known to go after, you know, places that deal with money because, you know, there's money. So that's the 3 targets I've chosen. I've chosen in 3 different countries. It's like, so you can't just say, well, it's like, well, that's the cultural thing. If there's one place, the cultural thing. I chose 3 different countries for this, and I'm doing the 3 different roles. So let's see how successful and how these worked out. The first one is called the Beirut Bank Job. This story is so ridiculous it actually got turned into a comic book strip. It was based on this. The story wasn't totally factual in the comic. It's like, but all the actual attacks were, which is hilarious. Basically, I was hired by a bank in Beirut, Lebanon, to break into their branches and see if I could actually commit online computer theft by having physical access to their network and physical access to their devices. I explained to them, it's like, well, for me to do successfully to commit wire fraud or trying to do something where I would steal millions from you, because who wants to chump change this in the drawer? It's like, I want millions. It's like, I need about 5 things. I need the user ID. I need a password. I need the smart card, because they use the smart cards for their computers, because they 2-factor authentication. They're securely legit, right? It's like, and then I need the computer, and then I need a network access. So I'd have to get all those things. And they're like, okay, sure. So the executives weren't the total fans of me and stuff, because, I grade on people every once in a while. There's plenty of witnesses in here for that. And so they were like, well, we want you to go, and we're going to take you to 3 different locations randomly. I don't know any of these locations. Every single one of these locations, I'm going into these branches. I'm going in blind with no recon, not even Google Street Map view. I'm just going in and just seeing what happens. So let's go in and see what happens. This is the first branch. The time from the first walk into the door to full access to the bank, 2 minutes, 22 seconds. From when I walked in, never knowing where this place was or where I was going to, it's like before I had full access to the bank branch installing malware on the teller's machine, 2 minutes, 22 seconds. It's like, well, I want it to be chatty a little bit, so it took a little bit longer, so, don't judge me. Also, please note that I'm doing it in a black leather DEF CON jacket and red Thundercat tennis shoes. I always come with warning labels. I'm not trying to blend in, and trust me, in Beirut, Lebanon, it's like in this area, I wasn't blending in very well. It's like I walk in, straight into the office. It's like I walk down this hallway. I always walk like I know exactly where I'm going. It's like it doesn't matter if I have no clue. It has ended up into some dead ends and staircases that didn't go anywhere and some awkward conversations, but that's cool. It's like, but this one actually worked out really well. Went down this hallway. There was the general manager. He had someone in his office, which was even better because I did the little half step. And I was like, oh, and then I backed up, waited 30 seconds out in front of his door. Yes, it's totally creepy. I've been there before. It was creepy, but I stayed there for 30 seconds, and then I started walking to the executive's office right beside him. What did she see? She saw this guy go into the manager's office, talk for 30 seconds, and then come back out. And then I'd go to her and I say, hey, I'm here with headquarters. We're looking at the domain controllers, make sure the USB rights and stuff are properly accessed, to make sure that there was no TCP reset stack on the IPv versus IPv4 and stuff. So the Flux compilers were actually having a problem with the way that they were controlling the ICP and P dumps. So it's like, I just need to plug this in real quick. Don't mind the rubber ducky on it. Just let me plug it in. Cool. Awesome. Hold on. I'm going to take my camera out. I'm going to take a picture of the screen just to prove that it was working. I needed that for documentation. Thank you. All right, thanks. I'm good. I'm done. You should be fine. Thank you. I'm going to go to the next one. I'm golden now because everybody saw in the branch, saw me talking to her, saw me working on her computer, and then I'd go back to the lady behind the teller, and I start working, and I told her, well, I need to get in. I need access. And please understand, when I say I had access, you see that wonderful gentleman right there with the frowny face. He's frowning because that stack next to his hand is actually the $250,000 he's depositing while I was here. Cash. Falafel sales are good. I'm not going to judge. Okay, but he was depositing $250,000 in cash at the time that I was there. So even if I wanted to be just lazy and just like steal the money and get shot by, him and the security, I could have done that. But that wasn't as fun. So I was actually behind the teller line. By the time I was there, with 10 minutes in, the manager comes out, talks to the manager. He thinks that the people up front had verified me and validated me because I'm behind the teller line, full access, literally twirling in the chair. I was bored. I have bad ADD. It's like, what's up to do? So I'm doing that. He comes out, and it's like, and everybody assumes that he verified me because I went and talked to him first. So he asked me, he's like, well, what's going on? What are you doing? And I was like, and I got him to the side. Well, I'm here with headquarters. We're looking to make sure that all the machines are working, trying to make sure that everything's working and up to snuff. He's like, oh, I'm glad you're here. It's like, we got a problem with one of the computers. You can take a look at it. Well, I'm not a plumber, but I can do desktop support. So I go over there to the guy's computer, and I look at it, and I'm like, you know what? This computer's outdated. It's not working right. We'll get you a new one from headquarters. It's like just about another week and stuff, it should be here. His eyes lit up like it was Christmas. And he's like, we got this other scanner over here. Can you come take a look at the scanner? I'm like, okay, sure. I go look at the scanner. Oh, you know what? That's not working very well. That's not, you shouldn't have that. I'll get you a new one from headquarters. And he's like, we got these two monitors over here that's not working. And then finally I was like, you know what? I wasn't supposed to tell anybody, but you cool. We cool. I like you. It's like, I I'm actually here from headquarters. They shipped me over here from America because we're actually doing a refurb of all the branches in Lebanon. And we're actually putting all new equipment and we're doing a whole refresh of the architecture. So I'm coming over here to test that stuff. But you've been like, I really like you. So we've gotten along. What? I'm going to tell you this. You're on the top of the list. 2 weeks, you're going to have all new equipment, all new monitors, all new machines. I'm refurbing the whole branch, baby. It's all yours. It's like, and I'm telling you, that was one of the hardest moments I've ever had because I don't do red teaming. I don't go in and go, I'm in here, blah, 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 you know, breaking into everything, destroying all the stuff, writing reports. Because first of all, I hate reports. I do security awareness engagements. It's like I do social engineering, but exercises to help educate the employees. So that means I go in, screw everything up and stuff, you know, make everybody unhappy. And then I leave for 2 minutes. I leave out of the building for 2 minutes. What does that show? I got away with it, right? I didn't get followed. I didn't get captured. It's like I was able to successfully abscond with the data. So this event, and then when I come back, after that 2 minutes, I go back in. And I talk to every single one of the people that I talked to and that I encountered. And I explained to them how I'm a horrible person and I'm a really bad guy doing really bad things. And they shouldn't let bad guys like me do things like that because, you know, the whole bad stuff, right? So this branch, I have to say, was so tragically, horribly flawed that I actually waited till the branch was closed. I waited in the office and stuff, you know, told the manager what happened, waited till the office closed, had one of the executives who spoke Arabic so we could translate into Arabic so they would totally understand in 2 different languages how horribly this happened and stuff, you know, and what occurred. And so I'm doing this and telling this, and then halfway through my conversation and telling them things they need to worry about, the bank manager raises his hand. It's like kindergarten. And I'm like, yes? He's like, does that mean we're not going to get the computers? And I'm like, no, I'm a horrible person. I was lying to you. I'm mean and bad. This is what I do. And it's like, and he's like, I felt like I kicked a puppy. It was horrible. I felt really bad about that one. And that's not even the worst I've done. We'll talk about that one later. It's like, but I felt really bad for the guy. But I needed to go in there and I needed to do these bad things, right? And I was in there for over 20 minutes. You can look at the timestamp. I had full access to this bank for over 20 minutes. No identification, no ID, no numbers to call, nothing. And thanks to Snappy Sweater Vest Dude, I got a user ID. And I got a password. Well, I needed a smart card too. How was I going to use this password and ID if I didn't have a smart card? So he gave that to me as well. So now I have a user ID, a password, and smart card. I need 2 other things, correct? What were those 2 things? Computer and internal network access. Well, luckily, I've got 2 more branches to visit, right? I have to be honest with you. I went to the next branch, and I was still feeling really bad about the first one. I felt really bad the way I lied to them, and I really abused their trust. And that because I am at heart a good guy, right? So I felt bad about it. So this one, I did a little bit different. I walked into the branch like I knew where I was going and stuff, you know. Ended up to the break room, which was actually a good call because there was a water cooler, and I was thirsty because pwning people is, you know, thirsty work. So I took a little bit of water, sat there for about, you know, a minute and stuff, you know, just recollection. Then I calmly walk into behind the teller area. I'm not coming in from the outside now. I'm coming in from the inside. Walk into the teller area, and I then proceed to go behind while this guy right there is working next to me and stuff, you know, doing his job. Come up behind him, and I unplug and steal the computer. I did not say a word to anyone because I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So I just, without saying anything, just walked in and literally stole the computer from behind the teller line and walked out with it. So now I have a user ID, a password, a smart card, and their computer. I only needed one thing else, right? Ask yourselves, how hard was it to get internal network access? At the next branch, answer was easy, very, extremely, sadly, easy, right? So that's how that worked. It's like that right there shows the flaw. It's like because people, if I would have gone in there, and we'll talk a little bit more about education later, but let's face it, let's be honest. These were not stupid people. If I would have shown up in a ski mask and a shotgun, I would have had a really bad day. Because we train our tellers to handle those situations. How many do we train to handle the geek with the USB drive? It's the lack of training that they're getting is what's causing the flaw, not the human themselves. It's like, I hate that t-shirt. It says, social engineering expert because there's no patch for human stupidity. That's not the problem. It's not human stupidity that's the problem. It's not training the humans. That's the patch. We're just not applying it. And because we can still keep blaming the computer's at fault. Or the human's at fault. So, getting a little ranty now. So let's go to the next one. So this next one is actually done in the U.S. I actually had the opportunity to break into a state treasury. I can't name what state because they are still totally pissed at me. So we're not going to go there. But I actually was brought in after they had already successfully, this network team had already successfully broken into their network. And the state treasury people were going like, yeah, but how would you be able to get in access to get that kind of access? And so they called me and said, hey, Jason, you want to break into a state treasury? I'm like, sure, that sounds cool. Let's try it. And I start by doing an assessment of their headquarters. Their headquarters was awesome. Because remember, I'm a blue team guy. It's like, so I love their defenses. They had a very good hardened, headquarters. They had like the double pane glass. They had like hard to see through. So you'd have to, if you approached up, someone might notice that during the day and stuff, It's like, they had a lobby that had like a door that you had to get in before you could get into the actual internal area. It was really good sound architecture. The monitors weren't pointing to the windows. It was like they did some really good security aspects, right? And I'm like, that's awesome. I did find one vulnerability in it. It's like if you go into the basement, there was a break room cafeteria kind of thing with a storage area. And I could jimmy the storage area lock and get into that. And there was a dumbwaiter, because this wasn't originally the state treasury headquarters. There was this dumbwaiter that went from the basement to the first floor of the state treasury, and they didn't have any locks on it. So I was like, I could totally get in there. But then I opened the door, and there were spiders. And I was not allowed a flamethrower, so therefore it was impenetrable, and I was not able to get into the headquarters. So they won that round, okay? It's like, what am I going to do? So I actually told them, like, yeah, I can't break in. I've got really good security, good glass, you got spiders. Yeah, you got me on this one. You win this round. But they had an office, a suite in an office building 50 miles away from where the headquarters were. That's awesome because we like to think physically and not logistically. Doesn't have to be as secured because it's not in the headquarters, right? Physically, that's correct. Logistically, you have that connected internally straight into your internal network through a VPN extranet. I would be sitting right next to the state treasurer if I was in that office building, logistically. So I'm going to go after that maybe. It's like, and that's when scope comes in. Because clients love to say, attack us like an attacker would. We want to see how we'd handle it. And attacker scope is this, right? This is an attacker scope. kitchensink.pi, I'm going after you, right? It's like PY, it's like someone's going to make fun of me now because it's the proper Python code. It's like, so kitchen sink, boom, you're out of everything, right? When a client goes and says, we want to attack you like an attacker would, and okay, I'm ready. But you can only do it through Monday through Friday, because it's like, we've got to make sure that our response team is available and stuff, and they'll be able to handle if you come up with any issues or something. And I'm like, but attack us like an attacker would. And I'm like, sure, I'll do that. Oh, but can you make sure that you're not doing it till after midnight because we don't want to affect the users and stuff and have downtime? I'm like, okay, sure. But attack us like an attacker would. Okay, fine. Oh, but we don't want you really going after the production servers. We just recently patched them. We just got new software. We got this developer server and stuff, on this one IP address. If you can go after that, it would be totally great. Thank you. Go after us. Attack us like an attacker would. And there's your scope. Well, in this engagement, my scope was this. They wanted me to go after that office building and attack them. I just had to do it after 5:30 in the evening. Okay. I wasn't allowed to use my favorite tools of gaining entry, either cardboard or a crowbar, because, cardboard I use for the sensors to trick the motion sensor to open up. And crowbars, well, they're sort of self-explanatory, correct? So, because I'm not really good with lockpicks. I'm not the Adrian guy. So I'm not going to be able to do lockpicks that well, but I am really good with cardboard. I've actually successfully broke into a place with a paper airplane. I'm very proud of that moment. But they wouldn't let me have those. And there were a couple other factors for my rules of engagement. I wasn't able to talk to anyone coming in and out of the building because they may not be state treasury employees. So I couldn't risk it and talk to them because that would be rude. So I can't talk to anybody coming in and out of the building, but if I happen to get in, well, then I could only stay in the public areas because, that was all I'm in scope to do because it's like they're hiring me to break into their place, nowhere else. And I'm like, well, I didn't plan on breaking into the vending machine, so that's totally legit. I'm cool with that. And then they're like, well, you can only talk to the cleaners, but they're not direct employees of the state treasury, so therefore they're not in the contract, so therefore you can't lie to them. What? Yeah, that would just not be fair. Oh yeah, we don't want a criminal to be fair, do we? It's like, not fair. So it's like, let's do what we can do. So let's see how that worked out for them. This is the Jayson nose cam. There we go. So here it is. I'm there after the building. The dates are all messed up, but that's totally fine because you don't want to know when it was. I go to the first door, the side door. I try the door. No cardboard. No crowbar, very sad, because it's locked. And this is the best part of the whole video, I promise, because while you get to watch me walking this way, I get to drink some Diet Pepsi, because this is the longest part of the exploit. Sorry for the Dramamine-inducing video. I'm wearing a wristwatch where I'm recording all this video. It's like my Geek Bling Bling. It's actually a high-def video recorder with 16 gig USB hard drive. So I get to the front of the door area, and I realize that the door is locked. Still no crowbar. So what I do is I pull out my hacking tool, and I start acting like I'm doing something, probably just playing Angry Birds. But that helps, because only after, while I'm here looking at my device like I'm doing some kind of important businessy thing, right, because I'm a business person, because I've got a smartphone, it's like I wait 10 seconds. And in that 10 seconds, I lost a group of pigs. But she came out. That was helpful. And I didn't say anything. Do you know how many places I've compromised just by holding a phone or acting like I was talking to someone, and as someone walked out, I'd walk in without even making eye contact? Or I would look. I did this one building in this other country, and it was horrible. Because I actually had to be stuck in the floors, in between the different floors. I did like 6 or 7 floors, but I was borrowing someone else's phone because it was another country, and that mother didn't install Angry Birds or nothing. So, I didn't have nothing to do. This one was the worst, because now I'm inside for 2 hours. I'm in the public area for guys, you were totally underestimating my ADD. I'm locked inside a building for 2 hours. There is only so many tweets you can tweet, statuses you can like, and Angry Birds you can flip in 2 hours. My battery was at 2%. We were in dire situations here. Okay? So actually, after it was like, oh my gosh, it was horrible. So after about 2 hours, I hear the cleaning lady upstairs. And I'm literally going to myself, screw it, it's close enough, it's upstairs, it's got to be a public area, I'm going to go ask. So I go up to her, and I can only tell her the truth. Let's see how that worked out for them. Can y'all hear? Is that, oh, you know what? Y'all can't hear because I forgot to plug this in. That helps.
Hello. Hi. I'm in, trying to get back in the suite.
I was there the day before. I am trying to get back into it. That was the truth.
Let me in real quick. Yes. Downstairs?
No, no clean. Me, no.
Could you let me in? I can't get in. It's like I just went to the bathroom and I didn't have my badge.
I couldn't get in. No crowbar. I just got back to the bathroom. I was there for 2 hours. Don't judge me. Okay? And I have a valid employee badge. I did not say it was their badge.
I don't know.
Could you try? Thanks. I just gotta do one thing real quick.
Destroy their network. One thing.
Working too late.
I was on the clock, and don't judge me with that laugh. I think it's endearing, okay?
Thank you.
This, once again, is the longest part of the compromise.
You need key?
Yeah, I don't have the key to get in.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
I have it.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So let's fast forward. Oops, not that much. So at this point, I probably have, oops, oh, actually, fast forward. I don't do cursors this early in the morning very well.
Yeah, this will it.
Okay, there you go. So I'm on the phone with someone actually talking to an employee. And even if I wasn't talking to someone, I would still act like I was on the phone. Yeah. Because as soon as they come in, what am I going to say? As soon as someone is coming in to give me help on something.
Yeah, I am recording.
You always have your phone out. You always actually make sure that you're having a conversation.
Yeah, she's got the key. Okay, I'm good, thanks. What?
You acknowledge, oh, I don't need your help anymore, person of authority and stuff. This person just showed up. They're going to do it for me. You don't have to worry about it. They're saving you a step. Thank you for that. And so that person is subconsciously going like, oh, well, if I wasn't going to let them in, someone else was about to let them in anyway, so it's totally legit, totally cool, right? And that's how that worked.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, that was the only lie. And I do feel bad about that one. I told her I'd see her later. I didn't see her again. Okay, my bad. What purpose did it serve for them to have a scope like that? Who did that benefit? Well, I mean, besides me having a really cool story and stuff, you know, it's like, did that benefit the client any? No. All it did was reinforce the idea. If an attacker has motivation and determination, they're getting in. What are you doing to protect them? What are you doing to detect it? That's what we need to start working on more. So this next one is just one of those, I have no idea how this worked. There's no way you should be believing me right now. I mean, I have actually talked to people in a hallway. It's like in a chemical research thing, and I am telling them some of the stupid stuff that's coming out of my mouth, and I'm looking at them like, I can tell you don't believe me. I just said a whole bunch of crap, but you're still nodding your head and saying it's okay. There's a problem here. And then I walk away and, you know, with the server. It's like I've literally had physical security officers actually help me carry servers out of the computer room. Those things are heavy. I ain't gonna do it myself. You know, and put them in my car. That's not cool, right? From a defensive standpoint. So this is one of those stories. This is in Kingston, Jamaica, which like where I was doing a financial institution. And this is probably one of the worst, horriblest things I've ever done on an engagement, because I've done some really shady stuff all over. But it's like, this is one that I feel really bad about, okay? I call this one the Jason and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad social engineering engagement. Because me and there was, and this one also, I want to make sure that I point out, like this one was not just me just going solo. There was actually a team of guys. It's like there was a team of guys in Jamaica that was from the security company that hired me to come down and take a look at it. that was helping with it. And we were looking for the main aspect of trying to get into this company. And so the whole team were like, we spent an hour and 45 minutes. It also happens to be the longest I've ever searched on Google for any attack. An hour and 45 minutes on Google. It's like, that is the longest I've ever done recon on a company. Once again, ADD and stuff, usually it's not that needed. So we went for around 2 hours. It's like, and then we developed a persona to come in. It's like I came in as a TV producer because they actually had a charity organization that had the same email address domain, which meant they were on the same network, which means they were in scope. So why go after this big, scary financial institution when I can go after the nice, helpful people at the charity organization? Remember, I'm a bad guy. So we decided to do that. One of the team members gets the calls, initiates the call, tells them, like, there's a TV producer from America doing a show on corporations doing public good in the communities like Jamaica. And their company is doing such great public works, we want to put them on television. So then he transfers the phone over to me, and it's like, yeah, I was just talking and had dinner with him, and he said that y'all were like doing these wonderful things that y'all were doing. It was just amazing. And I'm like, I got to have you on television. But you know what? It's like my flight leaves at 6 a.m. It's like I got to catch that flight. Is there any time I can meet today? Because I would love to talk to you. Y'all need to be on this show. 3 o'clock? Sure. Hold on a second. Yeah, hold on. Cancel my 2:30. No, this is more important. Cancel my 2:30. I got to do this. Okay, I'll be there. It's like, ciao. And boom. And I show up 15 minutes before the appointment at the other building. And so, let me switch it to another slide. So I go to this other building, and the office, it was the charity organization on one side of the street, financial headquarters, Fort Knox on the other side. I go to Fort Knox first, going like, hey, I'm here. It's like I'm trying to meet with some people and stuff, it's like, and to get into the building, you had to be buzzed in from the lady, the receptionist. Then you had to go through this lobby to this other armored door and stuff, that led you into the atrium to the financial area. I mean, it was the most comfortable man traps I've ever seen, okay? And there was a security guy there that they paid extra to look really mean and ugly. It's like, I don't want to say ugly because he still scares me to this day. So just very mean. We'll go with mean, okay? And it's like, and I told him, it's like, well, I'm here to visit. Like, that is we're in the wrong building. It's like, that's across the street. You have to go there. I'm like, oh, okay. Can I go to the restroom real quick? It's like, I need to go to the restroom before I go over there and talk to him. And they're like, sure. And it's not because I drink so much Diet Pepsi. That's a contributing factor. It's because I get lost so many times when I'm looking for the restroom. It's just amazing. I was in this one building in the West Coast of this facility, and I was lost for over 2 hours trying to find that bathroom. I mean, I found the secured employee area in the server room with no problem, but I could not find that bathroom. It was perplexing. So they say, yes, you can go. They open up the door. Security guy opens it up for me. He continues to walk behind me as we go to the atrium. And I'm like, I am literally scared at this moment that this guy is following me into the stall, okay? I mean, that was a factor to consider at this point, okay? But he stops at the door, so I'm like, okay, that's convenient. And then I get into the bathroom, and I have this dawning realization that, well, crap, I really don't have to go right now. This sucks. So now I just have to stand there for the proper length of a urinational period and stuff, right? Like, okay, that's good enough. Then I have to go over and have to wash my hands because, I don't want them to think that I'm unhygienic even though nothing occurred. And then I walk out. And as soon as I walk out, I head toward the atrium elevators, and there's the guy. He did not do that. But trust me, from facial expressions and from body language, it was implied. Okay? It was literally, you, over here. So I'm like, oh, yes, of course I'm going that way. So I then go talk to the lady, the management lady. And we talk. And 5 minutes in, I'm like, you know what? I need to really talk to someone. Do you have like an executive, someone that's been here before and somebody that can do that? And like, sure. I was like, I need to talk to them. Talk to them for about 5 minutes about the TV show. And I was like, you know what? I can tell you all the stuff about what we're doing for this episode, but what I can do is I can show you this USB drive, which actually has one of the videos on it from one of the shoots that we've done. Ignore the rubber ducky on it. Let me plug it in. Boom. I plug it in. And one of the weirdest things that's happened to date all these freaking weird error messages started popping up and this other stuff started going on. I mean, literally, this guy's machine was so hosed, I think it was other malware fighting with my malware, like, it's like, I was here first, you go get your own computer. And like, no, I just need to do this one thing. Too bad. It's like, you can't do it. And it's like, they're like fighting each other. It was really bad. And I'm like, sorry. And the guy's like, well, he really wanted to see this video. So he's like, he gives it to the desktop support guy. And the desktop support guy's not in scope, and I'm like, ooh, crap. It's like, but 99% of social engineering is thinking on your feet quickly. So I'm like, well, there are other videos on that USB drive that I need to see, so you need to let me go with them so I can figure out where he puts it on and make sure he's not accessing the other folders. There are no folder structures on this USB drive. I need to see what computer he put it into because that is now my computer, and that's now designated as a target and a victim. So I have to go look and follow him. So I go into his little work area and stuff, with this other little Geek Squad group, and he plugs the machine, the USB drive into an Ubuntu machine. And I'm like, oh, that is so thankful. I coded the thing for Windows, so I didn't have to worry. And then I learned something really awesome. Ubuntu's great, because it worked perfectly. Just like if it was on a Windows machine. It executed, it ran, it was awesome, and I'm like, oh, I've got domain admin on their company and every company this guy supports, which is sort of unfortunate, but awesome. So I have to plug that out. And so now I have to sit down, and this is the worst part about it, okay? I'm not being facetious. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not doing. These were legitimately awesome, wonderful, caring human beings that were trying to make their community better. This lady gave me a copy of her book. She's like the Mother Teresa of Jamaica, okay? And I spent the next 15 minutes in the room with these people explaining to them how I was going to put them on television. Yes, I see that judgment. I agree. It's like it was bad. But actually, halfway into it, I started to get, wow, someone's like really judgmental. Okay, I admitted it was bad. So it's like, so I'm like halfway into it, though, I started getting involved in it. I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I see a lady working at her computer, working in your office. It's like working in the computer, working on her desk, doing work, and it's going to fade out, and it's going to pan over, and then we're going to do a transition and blur, and then it's going to go out onto the streets of Jamaica, and there's this young girl, who's being fed by that same lady that was on her computer. She's now on the streets actually feeding this child, because it shows how the work that you do in your office actually translates to actual positive action in the streets. It's going to show that, and we're going to try to bring that to life. It really sounds like a good show. It should be actually on the air. It's like, it's like, so I get them convinced they're all going to be on TV. We're all doing great. It's like I got another appointment set up and stuff, in a couple months when I fly down with the film crew. It was amazingly horrible. Because I walk out of the building, and I'm there for my 2 minutes. And then 3 minutes pass. About 5 minutes, my team member and stuff, drives over, and he's like, Jason, aren't you going back inside? Because he was working with me. It's like we were working the 2 previous days, so he knew what was going on, and I'd go out 2 minutes, come back in. And I was like, nope, I can't tell those people what I just did. I'm a horrible man. And I literally, for the first time ever, I actually had to call the client, and I was like, I succeeded and I'm finished, but you're going to have to tell them what occurred. I can't do it. I can't tell those people what I did, those wonderfully sweet people. Not going to make me. I can't do it. Bye-bye. And so the actual guy who contracted actually had to tell them, because it was really bad. So I usually have ice cream after I celebrate and stuff, after successfully destroying someone or doing a good talk. It's like, and yes, I did have ice cream, but it didn't taste as good. So for the record, it was a little bitter. Okay, so I do feel bad about that. The summary, once again, is human nature. We like to believe the lie. That's everybody. Everybody in this building. I got suckered and stuff recently and stuff, because I wanted to believe that this person was actually being truthful and stuff, and they were not. It's human nature. We want to believe what's going on. So if I can give you a convenient lie of why I need to plug this USB drive in, it is better than what you know the truth probably to be, which is something bad is happening to you. I'm flying out on a plane tomorrow. I am not going up on that plane and stuff, and the first thing I think of, like, oh, great, I got upgraded to first class. Oh, crap, Chris is on the plane. We're going to die. It's like, this is horrible. It's like, I don't think of things like that, because those aren't pleasant thoughts. Those suck. Who wants to think the unpleasant things? No one goes to work going, oh, this is a great job and stuff, it's like I'll probably get shot or something like that, it's like that. No. So if I can give you a convenient lie, it's better than you having to realize that adorably dressed guy and stuff, might actually mean me harm. He may be lying about that USB drive because we don't want to believe that. So we need to start doing something to make them believe this. This is the vegetables part of it. It's also, you're starting to realize it's a very long talk. But I will put this in here. It's like, you don't have to agree with me, dude. Seriously, man. It's like, and boring. You forgot boring, Jason. So we also need to do about education with our employees. We got to do the 3 E's: educate, empower, and enforce. Let's start off with education. I touched on it a little bit. It's like, and one of the key things is we teach people that this is bad. Well, not those guys in the lower because they're adorable, but we teach that these guys are bad, right? But we don't talk about how sketchy these people are, especially that upper left-hand guy, because Darren's, he's looking a little sketchy in that one. No offense, Darren. Cool guy. And we're not detecting against these devices, because these are the devices that are going to get you. It's like, and not just those. You got those. Those are awesome. It's like, I love those because, Mr. Robot just throws them in the parking lot. Who does that anymore? That's freaking old school. When I go into an engagement, I come with a stack of empty envelopes and a marker. And I walk through those little hallway cubicles till I see someone who's not there. But they've got a nameplate. Write their name on the envelope. Put a USB drive in the envelope. Seal it up nice and tight. Put it on their desk. Who's not opening that envelope and plugging the USB drive that's directed to them into their computer that was left on their desk, so it was obviously someone totally legit, right? Those are awesome. And they're so freaking cheap because, every conference usually has them. So what do we need to do? We need to teach employees dangers. Employees don't care about your data. Employees are never going to care about your data. They don't know how to secure their Wi-Fi at home. They don't know where their children are going online and on Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram and Kik and whatever else is out there, or periscoping or whatever. They don't know those things. It's like I feel old just saying those things, okay? It's like, so why, and they're still getting scammed with Craigslist and eBay scams and phishing attempts. So stop trying to teach employees to worry about your data. Start teaching your employees how to be security conscious at home. Have lessons and give out lessons or educational seminars to your employees about how to protect their Wi-Fi at home. Show them how to do the privacy settings on Facebook and other social media apps. Show them the dangers that children face online. Show them how to respond to phishing attacks at home and Craigslist ads at home and scams on eBay. Show them all those things, and guess what's going to happen? They're still not going to care about your data at all. But they're going to be security conscious. They're going to see that attack at work, and they're going to realize, well, I'm not going to fall for that at home. I'm not going to fall for it here. I should report something. Another thing is you need to create teachable moments for them. An aha moment, like a security week, a security awareness week, where y'all actually do an attack. And some people have a hard time figuring out what is a good teachable moment. So I'm here to help. At a lot of the conferences that I go to now, it's like I usually do 2 different methods of attack and stuff, to the audience. To show them a teachable moment, to help make it understood. On some, I will go and I will have Wi-Fi, Hack5, Pineapple running, and I just take control of all the machines. One word of advice, do not do this when you don't actually realize who all the other people are speaking at the event that you're at. I was at an event in DC where I did not look at the schedule, and I put this sucker up, and I got like over almost 100 people connected to it. And I'm feeling really good about myself, and the first person comes on and speaks, and then he introduces the next speaker right before me, who was Mike Morrell, ex-deputy director of the CIA. Awkward. I was like, literally, as soon as I heard that, I was like, wait, what, who? Let me look on here. That's not good. So the other one that I do is I wear these glasses, where it's like I can do video recording, because they're high-def glasses, to show you that sometimes the low-tech attack, where I can gather your data, I can look through your stuff just by wearing glasses or a pen or some kind of device, and I record it that way. I don't have to steal it from a USB drive. I'm actually recording all the data that I need. Do you notice that I'm not wearing glasses? That's because I did this. This is GrrCON. Hi, GrrCON. This was less than 5 minutes at this conference. I had no internet connectivity to my machine. I'm not trying to hack anybody. No data went through my machine. If you actually, during that period, tried to go to a web browser, to any website, it would actually say, oops, not the Wi-Fi you were looking for, my bad, with a winky face. I know because I made that page, so any page that you would try to go to would be that one. So, also, Lindsay, it's like you connected to Big Brother. You're either part of the Illuminati or you're a victim of it. I'm just letting you know, FYI. Okay? That one really scared me. So it's like whoever connects to Big Brother is like obviously up to no good. Okay, I'm just saying. So that's GrrCON. That is what's called a teachable moment. Because all your reactions are like, oh crap, it just got real. That's what you need to do to your employees. That's the moment you have to give them. You also have to empower your employees. You have to show your employees how they can impact and become a positive force for good. They are not part of your problem. They're part of your solution. You have access to the biggest intrusion detection system in history because they do their same job day in and day out. Do they also realize part of their job is being part of information security? You need to teach them. I was in a bank in Amman, Jordan, plugging my Wi-Fi device, my USB drive. And the bank manager is telling me, you can't do that, sir. And my whole response the whole entire time was like, you're right. I shouldn't be doing that. You should call someone. Don't you have someone to call? I know I should be, hold on. Yeah, I know I should be here and stuff, you know. It's totally legit for me being here because I know, but you don't know I'm here, then I don't think I should be here unless you know. Hold on a second. Yeah, I shouldn't be plugging these devices in if you don't know. It's like, you should call somebody. You should be, hold on. Yeah, definitely call someone. It's like, because this looks sketchy if you didn't know. I mean, I know I'm a good guy, right? Because it's like it says on my fake badge. 5 times I plugged that in. She didn't know how anybody to call. Does your corporation or enterprise have an extension for whenever an employee sees something suspicious or suspicious email or some kind of suspicious activity, they know who to call? And they're rewarded or acknowledged for the fact that they did that. That's not a blinky box device, people. That's not maintenance fees. That's an extension that you can give your employees to give them an outreach to actually help be an active part of your information security team. That's one of the main things that are needed. So you got to give them the opportunities to do the right thing and then reward them when they succeed and teach when they fail. Don't make it where it's like going to be like a total, oh, you're a horrible person because you didn't catch it. Accentuate the positive. Another thing we got to do is enforce. We got to do enforcement. It's like, and not just negative reinforcement. We got to do positive reinforcement. But one of the key things I want to talk about, and it's like, because I'm running out of time here and people are already looking at their watches and probably hungry because I know I am. I want to go to the last one. Visibility is sometimes it's all that's important. And one of the key things about visibility is we do not usually translate online action to real world consequences, correct? That's one of the hardest parts for people to understand. The things that they do online have repercussions. The links that they click. There we go. I can talk English. It's like those have consequences. I play video games. I love Call of Duty, right? I love Call of Duty. You know, I can't wait for, November 6th, the new one's coming out. But I'm not one of those guys who's like, okay, team, this is what we're going to have. We're going to have a sniper in the left flank. They're going to come around with our heavy weapons fire, so, covering out from the northwest. It's like this map actually has 2 dead man traps, and so, so I want the guys with the mini and stuff, demos guys to come in through that. No. Who does that? I'm pew, 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 America! Boom, 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 boom. I'm running and gunning. It's like, you know what happens when I die? I respawn. Pew, 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 America! I promise you, I get at least 5 kills to my 25 deaths, okay? My team hates me. Do I care? I'm having a blast. Put electrodes to my body that I get a 1,000-volt jolt every time I get shot in the game. How am I going to play then? Pew. Pew, pew. America. Pew, pew. My real life behavior will be modified. So you have to create that they see physically. When a virus outbreak goes out, when someone falls to a phishing email, show up at the desk. Show them real world repercussions. Show them that they actually have a security team, which may be new and foreign concept to them. Create that outreach, and that's how you enforce it. And I'm going to end it, unbelievably, 6 minutes before I'm supposed to end it, which is rare for me. I'm going to end it with this. Especially, I like giving this talk to security people because I want you to understand something. I hated the show. Sorry, guys, no offense, but I hated this show. He was a bad guy. Why are we so happy when the bad guy succeeds? Why are we so happy watching the bad guy get away with doing bad things? Our job is to make him have less of a happy day. It's like not wait for him to self-destruct, but to actually catch and stop him from doing the things that he was doing. That's what we should do. It doesn't make good television, I know, whatever. That's the way I feel about it. Glad he died. Spoiler alert, sorry. It's like, that's that show. And that's the way I feel as a blue team and a red team guy. So I'm going to leave it at that. Dude, that is not even a typo. I am done. If there are no questions, because I'm sitting between you and food, and other talks and other speakers that are probably more educational than me, we can meet around